All right, trendsetters. It's been a long time, but good to have Kevin Nasta back with us of damage365. Follow him on his social media at damage365 radio. Kevin, first and foremost, I hope you had a great holiday and happy New Year to you, buddy.
I appreciate it. Yes, Merry Christmas and a very happy and safe and hopefully not for you just you guys, for everybody out there listening in the HSP universe, a healthy new year.
And a prosperous one too, though. So,
Eh,
let's put a ribbon on 2021, Kevin. You had a lot of stuff going on. How would you, I guess, kind of simplify and put into a few words how Damage 65 Promotions did this year?
um, you know, to say I wasn't busy would be I would be lying. It was it's crazy. I mean, there's what 52 weeks out of the year, and out of the 52, I think I had 46 weekends booked throughout the year. It was crazy. We had upwards of almost 100 individual guests. Some people we brought in, multiple times. Either because they were exclusive to us or because they were just they're just walking money. I mean, some guests just wherever they go, they make money. People flock out to see them, and it doesn't matter how many times you bring them around. It's compliments to them. We visited about 7 or 8 different states. We traveled almost 10,000 miles in the car this year, and surprisingly, it only cost me 1 tire, and that was actually the last booking of the year.
Oh, story there. What happened?
Coming home from Stockholm, New Jersey, from the Wrestling Collector, with Jessica I of the UFC and Kimona, and hit something in the road, and my 1.5-year-old tire called it quits. So the one good thing I have to say, definitely by owning a Hemi, is that
Yeah.
when the flat, you got a flat tire. I mean, you hit something, the pressure gauge on the screen on the right in front of you is going off immediately. So immediately what I did was I just hit the gas pedal and I floored it, and I was not going to allow the air to come out of the tire before I was able to get to a safe area. I was in the left lane, so I just floored it, crossed over 3 lanes, pulled into a Sunoco, and that's it. Put the donut on. A couple days later, went and got the new tire, and the rest is history, as they would say.
That's not bad considering the fact how busy you were, how many miles you were logging in your car.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I did almost 10. It was I think it was 9,600 miles total, and that's just business miles. I also personally, myself driving for the amount of things that I do personally, because my car in my household is the primary vehicle. I did another like 13,000 miles just normal. So
Yeah, that's just normal everyday wear and tear, basically.
yeah, that's just normal. All the trips to the diner.
So Kevin really complimented us before we came on about our Christmas tree, and I'm very, very into the Christmas spirit, Kevin. So if people don't know you, just how much into Christmas are you? I mean, you're that kind of dude that the day after will be like, "There's 164 more days till Christmas." You'll post it. I know you will. I'll find it somewhere. You're
I
gonna
did it.
post it.
Well,
Oh
well,
yeah.
as soon as Christmas is over, I posted the countdown to Halloween, because
Okay.
Halloween's my that's my secondary go-to holiday. Right now I have my Christmas party tomorrow because Christmas fell on the weekend, so it kind of screwed
Mhm.
everything up. It's going to happen again next year too, but you know, this is after New Year is kind of the most, I call it the most miserable time of the year, because it's just 3 months of darkness.
Mhm.
Just 4:30, it's dark outside. There's
Wow.
no bright colors on anybody's houses anymore. It's just dreary and crappy, and there's like no positive outlook on the 3 months until you hit, like, I want to say, like mid-April. Baseball seasons hopefully is in full effect.
Hopefully,
You get
not a guarantee.
excited. Yeah, and then starting May, I start planting my crops outside in the garden. So, like, but basically January 2nd on to like March 31st kind of sucks for me.
As does for a lot of people too. I mean,
we've had the weather has been okay, and I got a feeling
50 degrees today.
We're gonna pay for it.
Of course.
January, February, March.
Well, January, February, and March have been known to be pretty bad in terms of weather here in the Northeast.
Yeah, I mean the couple of weeks ago when I was said I had Kimona and Jessica that was a year ago on that particular weekend. I had Allison Kay and Marty Bell, and that was 2 days after we had that big snowstorm last year.
Yeah. So I got a feeling that we're gonna pay for it.
Of course, January, February. I'm figuring I'm figuring what's February? What's the
February
isn't it like Groundhog Day or something?
That's February 2nd.
I feel like they're gonna pull out. They're gonna put the freaking movie's great. They're gonna pull out like the groundhog, and he's gonna be like snow bitches, and they're just gonna have a blizzard.
Yeah, come out with 2 middle fingers. The groundhog.
Oh,
6 more weeks of winters, bitches.
Yeah, pretty much.
Talked about Groundhog Day, a great movie, a classic. Listen, I gotta tell you, I don't know. I think you saw this movie too. I think you posted it, but we were able to catch Spider-Man No Way Home, dude. That movie rocked. I mean, just your quick critique, because me and Brian, I really am not into that as much.
Yeah, he doesn't follow it at all. Yet he was really intrigued by the movie
so much that I told Brian, we gotta go see it again. So we saw it again. Man,
it's on my agenda to see it a second time.
Yeah. So your first time you saw it, you tell like it is, man. Like, what were your thoughts?
I felt easily the best movie yet in the MCU. Easily.
Yeah.
Not only easily though, but it opens the doors now for so many more possibilities.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
It does, but the door was already opened. But this basically kicked the door down, because if you watched Loki, WandaVision, and just recently Hawkeye, it's tying all this together, the timeline and the multiverse. It's all getting tied together with the MCU. I mean, it's nuts to think that the TV programs are being tied together with the movies with the same actors. You know, if you're a DC fan, you're used to watching different characters on the movie screen than you are on the TV screen. But the MCU is just like, no, screw all that. We're just going to do the same on TV as we do on the big screen. And it just makes it so enjoyable, because you don't have to get used to a different actor playing the same character. It's just much more enjoyable.
You know, it was our first time. No, I'm lying to you, because we saw another movie, and it was our first time back at the movie theaters. Was it weird going back to the movie theaters? Because the one we went to, man, it was, first of all, the atmosphere was not the same. It was a ghost town on a weekend too. It was just weird, man. It was just such a weird vibe our first time back. I was like, man, will it ever feel like the same? I mean, we had to pre-order our food. The tickets were I mean, it was just like, I don't know. It's
different. I mean, it's an adjustment period. I mean, I laugh because I have a theater near me called Cinemark, and they have the big reclining seats, and you get your food, you bring it to your chair, but all the leather seats are all cracked. Beat up from all the sanitizer, cleaners, and bleaches they use and to wipe them down, and it's like, holy crap. And you just know as soon as they have to be replaced, the ticket prices are going to skyrocket, because somebody's got to pay for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be coming out of our pockets, but it was just weird. We saw Ghostbusters, I believe.
Yes.
That was another good one too.
Yes, I agree.
Nostalgic, man. A little tug at the heart towards the end. It was leading to what we thought, and then again, spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, honestly, come on, go out yourself. But,
yeah,
exactly. So we're gonna, if we spoil anything for you here, tough, because it's been like a month to see it. Come on, there's a statute of limitations on spoilers. Same thing with the barbershop. We're at the barbershop. We're talking about Spider-Man, and by nature, I'm trying not to do the spoilers, but then I'm like, what the F, man? It's been out for
Look, if you live in the United States, you should have seen those two movies already. I mean, granted, internationally, Spider-Man hasn't been released yet.
Oh, really?
So
That I
if
did
you
not
do
know.
have an international fan base, you pretty much screwed it all up for them.
Oh man. Hey, one thing about dealing with you, your promotion, you got great people working with you. You have great character people, the people that you bring in. One of the highlights was Brett Azar, awesome right now in Australia, filming Young Rock, and just shout out, really great dude, really character guy.
Absolutely.
That was a highlight in July. Man, I miss that hot weather. Man. But a lot of your stars really have had success recently. Like Brett's, already recording Young Rock, right? And talk about people like Masha Slamovich, who's signed with Impact. You got Santana Garrett, who's doing stuff with House of Glory this month. You've got Mercedes Martinez, who shows up on AEW Dynamite on the very last show, and she was doing stuff with Impact as well. And of course, my favorite, Easy Eric Bischoff, who was there at the wedding renewals for Maurice and the Miz. You've got a nice little team that you set up there with people. How proud are you? How proud are you of them and just them representing the 365 Promotions banner, man? Because that's got to be
it's
awesome.
look, I mean, it'd be lying if I said like, it doesn't make me smile. I'm more into the whole being proud. Eric Bischoff, he is who he is. But like you said, Masha Slamovich, Mercedes Martinez appearing and basically officially signing with AEW, attacking another Damage alum, Thunder Rosa, who's who basically started her whole exposure on the East Coast with us, and her career is just blown up from NWA Women's Champion to where she is now. Nyla Rose, who was also in that tournament. Jordan Grace, Camille Brickhouse, Deonna Purrazzo, even two WWE referees, Aja Smith and Jessica Carr, both interviewed with my podcast back in 2014 when they were Aja Pereira and Kennedy Brink, respectively. So, I'm very happy to see, people that we've reached out to and we've recognized something, and we were able to get them out and about and help them network, whether it was through fans or wrestling promoters or vendors and things like that. I mean, trust me, I love it. I love it, but I hate it because I love it because I'm so happy for them, but I hate it because it's just like every time I turn on my computer, someone else is bringing in Deonna Purrazzo somewhere, or someone else is bringing in Jordan Grace somewhere. And, sometimes too much is not good, because if you guys know, oversaturation and overexposure, it hurts their resale value.
Yeah. So they got to be selective on not to, say like go to the East Coast this amount of times to oversaturate, right? Because one will overbook and then won't get the same results as you guys would, obviously, because you guys sometimes have the first dibs because you just build that relationship. And one thing that you really made an emphasis to let us know is that rapport that you have with people like Eric Bischoff, that, there's some other companies or promotions that won't, treat them as well, but you guys do. And because of that, they'll go, hey, damage365. Well, I know them. I feel comfortable with them, and they'll go with you guys first.
I feel like the largest compliment that a talent can give somebody in where I am in the industry is them calling me to ask me about another promoter, what my opinion is on them, if they're trustworthy, things like that. I feel that, not only they trust me to bring them around and, do what we do, but they trust me to have an unbiased opinion of somebody else that they could be going out and making money with.
Yeah, and that says a lot about you, for your fact that they look towards you for that. And secondly, know that whatever you tell them, is going to be pretty accurate. It's going to be unbiased. Basically, you're going to tell them the truth of what
Oh
you
yeah, I mean,
experienced
look,
or know of.
nobody's ever accused me of having a filter. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And a great segue to these other questions that I got for you, Kevin, because you know, listen, stuff happens and stuff because it's just a hectic couple months, whatever like that, and we've tried to touch base. We want to meet the show either bi-weekly or something like that, and you know, we're going to talk a little bit about the Mets and talk about that before we wrap up the show. But you do want to get some stuff off your chest, and I know last time we had you over here, you did, but then we kind of really didn't delve into more than we should have, right? So this end of the year, you wanted to get a lot of stuff off your chest. So now the platform is yours, dude. We will just listen here, and whatever was on your mind this past week, whatever that, just bring it out here, man. Whether it's relationships that have gone wrong, whether it's people that you've had to like not come in contact with anymore, the floor is yours, Kevin.
I appreciate it, guys. And you know, I always try to, obviously not sugarcoat, but I try to kind of not make, you know, my podcast was, I was plain and simple. I was logging on and I was shitting on somebody. I mean, it was, and if I had to go that way, it was, you did something. But I always try to like kind of pull my punches when I'm on someone else's podcast, because I don't want their podcast to get the reputation of, you know, having people on there who crap on other people. But, you know, for people listening or watching, you know, I reached out to you. You know, I said, look, I need to get some stuff off my chest. You know, it wasn't you contacting me trying to dig for, you know, controversy, because that's not what type of people you guys are. You guys are very relaxed, chill, you know, live and let live. And me, I'm like, live and let live. But if you know, screw with my living, I'm going to kill you. You know,
nor are we looking for you to, nor are we looking for you to name names or just, but whatever.
No. Oh no, I'm going to name a name.
Well, okay, then that's on you then.
I mean, look, I'm sure you guys see all the nonsense that goes on social media with some of the vendors that want to bring in talent, and then either they gets canceled or they cancel, and then they go on Facebook and, you know, post this long-winded woe is me, this is not fair, blaming it all on the talent or vendors or the promoters or the agents, whatever, you know, the case may be. And, you know, normally I'm not going to get involved in that, but because it directly affected people that I've worked with and that were close to me, you know, and I'm talking about, I can't even call him a gentleman, but I'm talking about Jason Blostein of Glamour Under the Stars. Most people know him. Most people don't like him. But you know how wrestling fans are. They don't like somebody, but if they bring in a talent that they like, they're going to still spend money. So it's a very, very hypocritical business, but you know, we all accept that. It's no different than having, you know, a wrestler wrestle at your show. If you're running a card and you have somebody on your show that's very controversial or had stuff said about him in the past, you know, that was questionable, you know, the promoter's philosophy is, well, he puts asses in the seats and that's ticket sales, so I'll do, you know, whatever. So it's a very hypocritical business. He went on a tirade about Big Event. He was supposed to bring in Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill, both of AEW. He paid them an asinine, agreed to pay them an asinine amount of money, which is his MO. He likes to overspend on talent so he can get them first, regardless if he makes money or not, which most cases he does not. And then it came down to, you know, contracts. They have agents now. Tony Khan has planted in the head of the AEW talent that he wants them to be represented by third-party booking agents. So where he has come out and said that he will not interfere with their bookings, third-party bookings, like Vince does. You know, Vince doesn't allow it. This is his way of controlling them, because now he's got third-party agents. Now, third-party agents are going to charge a ridiculous amount of money because they get a commission. So they want their kickback. It's got to be worth their time. So a lot of the price tags of the AEW talent has gone through the roof. And then also a lot of the AEW talent has stopped going to certain conventions because the ties to WWE. And to me, it's just all big baby shit. Who cares? They're wrestlers. If you don't want them to be there, then tell them they can't do these bookings. If you're telling people you're not touching or messing with their bookings, then don't use that as an excuse that there might be a WWE connection there. You know, WrestleCon being one of them. WrestleCon has nothing to do with WWE, but there's stipulations in some of these AEW talents contracts that they can't do WrestleCon because it's Mania weekend, which is bullshit, but whatever. So anyway, he was supposed to brought in AJ Lee for big event, and he brought in a bunch of UFC girls, and he was supposed to bring in Jade Cargill and Thunder Rosa. So in the contract, which mostly, you know, any intelligent promoter will do, is you don't want them doing a signing in the same market within a certain amount of days prior to your booking, because that's taking money out of your pocket. So I think I don't know what their exact deal is, but I want to say it was 45 days prior to big event. Okay. But New York Comic Con ran right before big event, and Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill were at New York Comic Con. So Jason lost his shit, called up the agent, cursing him out, flipping out. It's saying you breach contract, you breach contract, you breach contract. So now obviously Jason didn't read the contract. Yes, in the contract, it was stated that they cannot do something in the same market within 45 days unless it was a contractual obligation from AEW.
And that's what it is, right?
They were sent to New York Comic Con representing All Elite Wrestling. They were being paid by All Elite Wrestling to be there. That's their job. That's their boss. So they didn't breach contract. So he, threw an absolute fit, went on social media, bitching them all out, blaming it all on the talent, claimed that the talent turned around and demanded more money, demanded first-class airfare after they agreed on everything. And for that reason, they can, basically go F off, and he wasn't bringing them in. It's all fine and well to the average wrestling fan who sees that and now thinks that Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill are assholes. And that's
did someone else bring them in last ditch, or no? They just didn't.
No. They were supposed to do the Sunday big event because AEW had the pay-per-view on Saturday. So they were supposed to do the Sunday show. Now they're canceled. So the truth eventually comes out that he called up flipping out. They explained to him that it was contractual obligation with AEW, so it didn't breach contract. So he started demanding discount. He wanted money back. So he didn't want to pay what he signed a contract to pay. Now he wanted less money. So the agent said, all right, look, this is what we can do. We'll give you this much off, but do the talent a solid. They're doing a taping on Friday. They're doing a pay-per-view on Saturday. Can you fly them in both first class for Sunday? They'll get there early in the morning because the other flight was going to land, I think, like an hour before the show started. So
this is after
delay,
full gear, right? This is after full gear. Yeah. So it's basically from Minnesota to
LaGuardia or JFK. So even with the first class airfare, the discount that was offered was a lot less money that they originally agreed to do. He basically told them go screw, and then went on Facebook and complained about this whole ordeal, which was all fabrication, was all lies. Absolutely, what he said was not what happened. So I took to social media and I was like, I was angry, and I was like, look, Thunder Rosa's family to me. Thunder Rosa was at my wedding. Okay. She's lived at my house for like a month and a half at one point because she was doing so many bookings in the Northeast that she just stayed at my house. When I see her, it's like running up to my sister and giving her a hug. It's like, I don't like when people screw with people that I care about. So I was pissed off about that. So now just recently, he did it again. Now with BFAB.
Oh, from formerly of
Was it Hit Row?
Hit Row? Yeah.
Yeah. So he went to social media saying that they had an agreement that she was going to do a certain amount of bookings, and one of them being Big Event, and that she canceled on him for Big Event and gave him no reason. And this is bullshit. And she's unprofessional and, blah, blah, blah. She can go screw off. I'll never work with her again. I'm like, of course I get a million screenshots sent to me. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to reach out to him myself.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to reach out to him myself. Same weekend, Big Event weekend, find out what the deal is. She agreed to do first she said, well, yes, I'll do Big Event weekend with you, but I'm going to be in Colombia the week leading up to it. I got to see if the flights work, she's going to have to fly in on a Friday from Colombia to, Newark or LaGuardia, and then she's got to fly home to, I think, Florida on Sunday. So that would even have to be from Albany or wherever the hell we are, Allentown or Newark, wherever the heck we might be on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. So we were trying to work things out. So wound up, we couldn't get it done because of the whole Columbia situation. So I said, look, I have to ask, what the hell happened? Because another promoter is claiming that you canceled on him. He already had you booked. And she made it, it was very flat and simple. And then I also got a screenshot of an email sent by her to another promoter explaining the story as well. So the story was sent to someone else and explained to me, and it was the same story. He ripped her off. He had her in with Scarlett for bookings, and he stole money from them. He was taking money out of the money that they were supposed to get. He was stiffing them. They called him out on it. He basically told them to go scratch and sent them home, and that was it. So they told him we were never doing a booking with him again. And, if this was an isolated incident, and this only happened once, I could say, all right, maybe it was a misunderstanding, but this is 4 times just in 2021. And then last year he did it to Camille Brickhouse, and he did it to Casey Cattell. So I'm like, this is not, and if you Google the guy's name, a bunch of adult entertainment stars that he brought in years ago or on Twitter, all calling him out for the same stuff, calling him a creep, taking money from him is inappropriate. The text messages, he's controlling. He talks to women like crap. And it's like, look, there's no room in this business for acting like that, let alone treating people like that, especially women. Like, women are the bread and butter of the vendors' businesses. It's not a question. Sex sells. They know, we know, fans know. But there's a respect line. I treat my talent better than I treat family. I don't like my family, so I treat my talent better than I treat family, and they appreciate they appreciate that. Eric Bischoff, who doesn't talk about any bookings he's done on his 83 weeks podcast,
shouted you out. I saw that.
Okay. He shouted me out for a couple of years ago when he came to me for Big Event Weekend. And then he was on After 83 Weeks with Christy Olsen, who was also a guest of ours this year. And both of them put us over. So, somebody's putting me over, and then you got this guy shitting all over talent, and then talent coming back and telling everybody how bad he is. It's like, stop doing business with this person. Like anybody, stop doing business with Jason Bostein of Glamour Under the Stars, because, stop with the whole, it happened once, it happened twice, it's happened over a dozen times. Enough is enough. The guy is a mark. He overspends on talent. He doesn't care if he makes money. He usually doesn't make money. And it's just a matter of him paying people just so he can go to a booking and have talent with him. It's not a business to him. To him, it's like hanging out with the wrestlers. If that's the case, you know what? Get behind the railing, buy a ticket, and watch. Stop. I mean, this is like it's ruining the business because now the lack of trust that these talents have for guys like me now. When I contact them, they don't know me from anybody else on the planet Earth. But if they've had a bad experience from somebody in the same industry that I'm in, they automatically, you know, it's perception. Perception is everything. And if you
I always say,
right, if you perceive that you're an asshole, you know, they're going to think every vendor that approaches them is an asshole, and they're going to put the guard up, you know, whether it's putting the price tag this high or just being very, you know, cold with conversation until you're able to, you know, break them down to the point where they're comfortable with you. And it's because of people like him. And there's others, you know, there's others that are marks that overpay a lot of money to bring in the talent so they could pat themselves on the back and say, hey, I brought them in first. Nobody cares if you bring them in first. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is that the talent was happy with the booking, whatever it was, a day, 2 days, weekend, whatever it was. They go home happy, they go home paid, and you made money because this is a business. We're not here, you know, to pat ourselves back about like, I brought that person in. Well, did you make money? No. Well, I still brought that person in. Who cares?
I know.
Who cares? I could call anybody and offer them a buttload of money and lose money. That doesn't make me a good business person. So that shit like this, it irks me. And it irks other people, except, you know, nobody says anything because they just, you know, they chirp on social media. They make passive aggressive posts on social media. They'll put general statements where they don't actually name names. And I don't care, because I'm going to say what I'm going to say here. I have no problem saying it to these people's faces. And at numerous times, I've approached Jason Blaustein at shows only for him to run away. And I really wish I had the camera on at the last big event when I walked in the room and I literally yelled at the guy's name. I was like, yo, it's big Jason Blaustein. The guy like hightailed it out of the room. Because
man,
he doesn't want to deal with someone like me, which is someone like me is I'm going to protect this part of the business because this is what I do for a living. And I'm tired of you making my job 5 times harder because I have to prove I'm not a piece of shit like you.
So, Kevin, this is me chasing the headline. So this is the news reporter in me. So Tony Khan suggesting third-party bookings. Is that something that's just started, or is that something that
started? It got very rampant about a year ago, but now every talent is being represented by somebody if they want. You know,
he's not mandating; he's suggesting it.
No, he's suggesting it, which, you know, if they're not experienced in handling their bookings, then they might want to get a third-party agent. If they're, you know, if it's somebody like Mercedes Martinez, I do not see Mercedes Martinez getting a third agent booking. She's been handling her bookings for 30 years, and she's booked every single weekend. So if she can handle, you know, 30 years worth of every weekend being booked, I'm sure she can handle, now that she's with AEW, she's going to be getting more phone calls. It doesn't matter how many phone calls you get because you can only commit once for the same day. So to her, it's not really going to bother her. But some of these other talents, you know, they might get booked once a month before going to AEW. But once they're all elite, then all of a sudden the phone starts ringing and the email starts blowing up and they're a little overwhelmed.
So I found, is Glamour Under the Stars, is that recent? Because I remember something caught my eye where they had a bunch of talent. So of course followed them on Instagram to see, and it was like a who's who sometimes of who's going to be here at trade shows, at the big event and stuff like that. So did it just start up this year, or they've been around a while?
No, he's been around for, I want to say, at least 8 to 10 years. He does like stuff at Dave and Buster's, and, you know, 15 people show up.
Yeah. Dave and Buster's.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He used to run his own convention. He ran his own convention in New Jersey with adult entertainment stars.
Brian, you dig up on that. That's your forte. So Brian can dig up on anything.
I'll do my research on that.
Do your research and get me Dylan Harper's phone number. Anyway, but so yeah, I mean, it's And look, and I don't like crapping on anybody and how they do business if they do it right. You know, maybe it's unorthodox, but it works for them. I don't care. Just do it right. Do it clean. Do it honestly. You know, stop being a piece of trash. I mean, it's not that hard to do honest business.
Hey, again, too, and if Jason Blaustein wants to come on here and talk about anything that you said, and because again, we don't want to be one-sided here. We're not looking to, again, burn bridges or make enemies here. But if he hears this or he wants to come on here, maybe both of you can, you know, air your grievances here and clear the air or whatever. Feel free to, you know, HSP podcast on all our social media at High Spot Podcast. And, you know, we can do that. I mean, because again, like there's sides to the story, right? So we're hearing Kevin's and stuff like that. So definitely, if it's something that you would want to do, definitely that'd be something to bring in 2022, start off that way. But listen, I after that, man, I don't know. Like we got to think of some positive here, right? Is there anything else? Anything else that maybe was on your mind, or is that the main thing that you were?
That was the main thing as far as needing to get it off my chest, because it's been bothering me, and I hate to you know have to type up like a 3,000 character post on Facebook, because I'm not looking for attention. You know, I'm not posting stuff because of likes and comments and, you know, smiley faces. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that. You know, if anybody who's known me, you know, mostly my posts are, you know, business related. My dogs, who one of them is loudly snoring right next to me.
And Christmas posts.
Holiday
posts. This was something
lots of food.
Yeah, there's something Kevin came on was on his chest in a way where we looking to, jump on Glamour Under the Stars, but this is something that happened. So, like you said, we want to clear the air. Please do so here on HSP, and maybe we can get something that may get a debate going here.
I used to do this too. You know, we started, you know, podcasting in 2012, and you know, we did the Indie Super Show, and you know, that's what I said. We interviewed a lot of talent that led to bookings, and you know, now they're all on TV. And but that's what we used to do. Is like we used to call out like crappy promoters, whether they were wrestling promoters, they were show promoters, or they were vendors. You know, and we would give them every opportunity. We'd call them up. Sometimes we'd get cursed out. Sometimes we'd get some cockamamie side of the story that was just like you were trying to figure out what drugs they were doing. It was crazy. It was crazy fun. It was just, you know, it was like the crazy train. You know, but as you guys know, the podcasting industry is tough because it's a very scheduled oriented job, because you need to stick to a schedule so your fan base doesn't disappear on you.
Yeah, that's very true.
And obviously a hot Kevin's Corner coming into 2022. And obviously, before we close, though, I got to get your take on it, because we're going to try to do this bi-weekly here, because we got to get you on your great sound bite. Obviously, definitely some sound bites here, definitely that for us to digest.
If you tell me that Jeff McNeil needs to be traded, I'm going to punch you right in the forehead.
Listen, I don't like his. I know everyone's got an attitude. Lindor definitely has one. But Jeff McNeil has not been the same for a couple of years now.
And I could explain this to you. I could literally break this down to you and explain why Jeff McNeil batted in the 250s last year. Not that we should be talking about Lindor when he batted 230, but let's it's
pulling too much, Kev.
It's analytics, bro. That's all it is. It's launch angle. Bullshit. That's all it is. Jeff McNeil is a 299 career hitter. He batted over 320 for the 2 full years and in the minors. He had a monster quarter season when he came up. He had 2 back-to-back good seasons with the Mets.
All-star.
And then they started messing with his swing. And you saw at the beginning of the season, he started to look like Ichiro. He was like running at it about his box, trying to slap balls to left field. Okay. Then they stopped him from doing that. Then it was uppercut. Every ball he hit the left field had no authority. There was no authority on it. It was just lazy fly balls to the left field. Warning track power. The line drive hitter that we all loved with Jeff McNeil, gap to gap, disappeared because it was, all right, you're playing left field. You're supposed to have 20 home runs because that's what the book says. You know what? I don't give a shit about the book. I'm all about pissing on the book. I don't care. If my outfielder, whether he's a left fielder or a center fielder, bats .315 with 8 home runs, drives home 65 runs, steals 10 bases, and he's just an absolute beast at the plate, I'm taking it all day, every day over a guy who's going to bat .260 with 35 home runs and 189 strikeouts. Sorry. I don't give a shit what the numbers say.
I think he's getting traded.
I absolutely think he's getting traded.
I just think the Mets.
I bought his jersey, so of course he's getting traded.
I think the Mets have shit on him too because I think that all these stories that are coming out, I think it's all prepping him for making him look the bad guy, especially in the Lindor.
Of course they are. So I think the whole Lindor McNeil rat thing in the tunnel. I mean, we all know what happened after that. I mean, look, there's no baseball team that goes through a 162 game schedule where the people aren't at each other's throats or fighting or, look at the 1986 Mets. You watch any documentary, half the team hated each other. So, but yet they won. Who cares? They did what they did. I mean, it was a lot of drugs and alcohol, but they still won. So, now you have this team and, Lindor has been brought here. He's got this huge contract. We're expecting the world of him. Maybe it's not, he doesn't deserve the pressure that we're putting on him. But, you are in New York. You are getting big money. So, you kind of got to deal with it. For him to turn around and basically crap all over Jeff McNeil about his positioning on the field, he should be listening to him. Look, Jeff McNeil's been here a lot longer than you, guy. We understand you're an all-star and you're a gold glover and, you got 30 home run potential, maybe 30 potential. We get it. And you got tons and tons of range, but you can't expect a guy that you've been playing next to 15 games to basically change his entire career where he's been the same team that you're here 5 minutes. It's a work in progress. It doesn't happen overnight. And the only way it's going to happen is with these guys playing next to each other for a couple of more years. Now, if you get to the All-Star break and Jeff McNeil's batting .250, all right, then you know what? Maybe Jeff's got to go. Maybe he needs a scenery change. But if Lindor's still batting .230, how's that Jeff McNeil? It's not Jeff McNeil's fault that Francisco Lindor is batting .230. You don't take your defensive woes into the batter's box and vice versa. You're a professional. So yeah. I just don't see it. And how valuable is Jeff McNeil? He plays second base. He plays third base. He plays both corner outfield. And he is not a slouch in the outfield. He gets to every ball. He's got a decent arm. And the guy can hit. He's a contact hitter. He doesn't strike out. I just don't understand what the major malfunction is here. And I understand Steve Cohen doesn't want to get involved. That's his, now we got a manager. Buck Showalter needs to sit the both of these guys down and say, hey, as of right now, you're both on the same team. You're both, playing for the Mets under me, and the both of you need to grow the fuck up. And this is the way it's going to be until one of you is gone.
Well, the good thing is we have a manager now. Mary Buckmiss Kevin, because I think we have a good manager now, a solid manager. I think we're not going to deal with this raccoon garbage that we've dealt with for the past seasons. So I think he's the perfect manager for the team. I know Brian doesn't say so, but since we've had this awesome story here with that you just gave us prior to it, well, we're going to say a little Mets thing for next week. So I say we do that. But definitely we'll have your Mets off season and what they did and what they need. We'll probably do that next week here on Kevin's Corner. I want to call it NASTA 365 for some reason. I think NASTA 365 just has a good ring to it. So I think we might do something like that. Upon your approval.
I like that. Sure, Jeff.
Sure, perfect. And dude, man,
I had to do a cheap plug transition, but when you guys are not looking, oh, there you go.
Oh, look at that, Nyla Rose. That's
my
awesome.
cheap plug.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you got that one, and then you got this beauty.
So Kevin's prepared. Oh, CJ Dunning, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
I'm prepared. So yeah, we'll talk more about that down the road. I mean, we still got the entire month of January before. You know, I'm not even done booking for that Celeb Fest. So, but yeah, you guys can come see Nyla Rose in Baltimore Celeb Fest 3 in Maryland. She will be there, and I have a case of the AEW Nyla Rose figures available.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Definitely look forward to it. It's going to be a big year for damage365 2022. Happy New Year, Kevin. Thanks so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it, man. More stuff next week. Trendsetter. Awesome way to get a kickstarter for 2022. Kevin Nasta, a damage365.